So this week's video will be short as we are only going through their website, which has been heavily updated with an interactable map of Cedar Hills, radio messages which are also viewable in Dead by Daylight's YouTube page, and a new minigame hiding an exclusive reward in completion. Alright, let's take a look at the 3 landmarks that can currently be inspected. This is Cedar Forest and it surrounds the steel mill. The forest is interestingly described as sentinel-like, guarding or hiding the mill for being seen. Of course, this is figurative, but what if this description was literal? What if the woods are supernatural and maybe the reason why the mill was built there? The description for the cedar steel gates were less about the entrance and more about the establishment's past. It used to peak back in the day. Cedar Hills isn't a completely abandoned town like Little Hope, where the town's main source of income was the textile factory until it was shut down due to the mayor failing to sell it overseas. However, I believe that Cedar Hills' size and lack of population might be the result of the steel factory being shut down. I want to bring up this clip from the gameplay trailer where the t-shirt guy says this line.
I don't think the police ever found this place.
Although Cedar Hills may not be a hot place for criminal activity, there were the Frankstone murders, which likely affected the steel mill's reputation severely to the point where the authorities had to be involved, shutting the place down. And our last landmark is the Calhoun Pharmacy. It's a family-owned business. We have already talked about the Calhouns before, the murder of their son George and the compensation for retrieving any evidence leading to the suspect's arrest. Now we are going over the radios. We will name them by number. This is Radio 1. Radio 1 is just an audiobook version of the Tribune clipping. We've already talked about this hint before in my second channel. There are a lot of people that didn't see this because a lot of people don't know that I have a second channel. I'm saying this right now. Go check out that video. We've covered every single hint from the first minigame. Okay, let's continue. What's interesting about this clue is its location. It's in the complete opposite of the steel mill, outside of the town even. We know that Frankstone does his deeds at the mill. Why is he doing his murders 3 miles outside of city limits, let alone requiring to cross Cedar Creek through the town's only bridge? Wouldn't that be inconvenient unless he could teleport? Or he had some assistants with him. The reporter did suggest that there could be more than one perpetrator. The name of the reporter was revealed to be Rebecca Fisher. Was she the woman from the gameplay trailer? Radio 2 tells the second story, the murder of widow Dorothy Clay, which led to the arrest of her nephew who benefited from her inheritance. Could the mystery woman be Dorothy Clay instead? It's interesting that both of these incidents end with something being engulfed in flames. The car burnt down when it crashed and Dorothy Clay was murdered before her home was set on fire. The town is separated into 2 sections. On the left is Newtown. If you see curvature like this, it's most likely a suburb area, and it's where our main cast resides. And on the right is Old Town, where Dorothy's house is located. Looks like the town is segregated to new and old housing estate. It's a very interesting detail. Next is Radio 3. It's another fire incident, claiming the lives of the parents of a 7-year-old boy. However, this incident took place in Colorado. What is Frank doing that far away from Oregon? Does he only kill specific individuals? Or maybe, if Stranger Things Season 4 taught me one thing, the boy is likely Frankstone. Pay close attention to each radio that was used for the background of each video. Notice that Radio 3, which is what we're calling this one, uses a more vintage filter. What if this means that the fire in Colorado is not one of Frankstone's ritualistic murders, but rather his origin story? And these are likely his burn marks from the gameplay trailer. It was lastly mentioned that his injuries were minor. Although we can see that his face isn't touched, his arms may have not. This is our final radio, radio number 4. Or should I call it Bonnie's mixtape? Could this be a potential name drop? Radio 4 is about a reporter, different this time, witnessing a protest that was happening in a local theater on Texas Avenue. It was during the showing of Murder Mill, which we know was produced by our main cast, so it likely means that this event took place in the future. With Mystery Girl, I mean, one of her scenes in the gameplay trailer had her looking at a murder mill poster. Does that mean her name is Bonnie? What future are we talking about? Because I don't think anyone will be using tapes today unless she's the quirky type. You know, Goth Girl does look like the type to own a mixtape. Moving on, an employee was stomped to death during the showing of Murder Mill. Who is the employee and who killed them? If you continue to listen to the rest of the recording, an arrest will proceed. Then a sudden explosion happens, blinding the reporter and damaging their connection. Several gunshots can be heard from afar, which might signify that an assault happened. The recording ends when the reporter makes a grand revelation that shocks him. Sounds like he died at the end. This is the most obscure radio out of the four. I'm ecstatic to know more as to how Mystery Girl is involved in all of this chaos. Actually, there is. In the media gallery, they're naming the promotional images, and the room that Mystery Girl runs in is known as the Horologium. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, which is Latin for clock or something that measures time. Time travel, anyone? It's also a name of a constellation in the sky. One of my questions from my previous video is, do the characters die if they get absorbed by this green wormhole? The media gallery has given it a name. It's a portal. Does this mean that if a character does get vacuumed, they don't die and they end up in the trials, but it still counts as a loss because they're now trapped there? Guys, I was going to end this video right here until I forgot to dissect the exclusive reward for completing the new minigame. I'm looking at it right now and I don't have a lot of theories to go by. I mean, I'm reading some of the tiny text. There's nothing really to go off of. The background, it's obvious that they live in Newtown. I mean, they live there. There's also like this extra building in Newtown. We don't know what that's for, so let's see if the website does get updated again. So yeah, that's it for the video, I guess.